That went fast. So we're actually already recording.
Okay.
And so we're not going to jump right into Sweat Lodge and those conversations, although they seem interesting, and we might
getting into some crazy stuff.
He is. Yes. And for the audience, on Allie, come on over into the thing. There you are.
Allie.
Al's getting some behind the scenes footage. And then, we'll talk Sweat Lodge after she steps out, maybe, because I don't know how appropriate it is. So you know what episode we're on, Michael?
No, 40.
Okay, good guess. Al, guesses? So the people that I'm closest to in my life have no idea what show we're on. It's 44. So welcome, Allie, to episode 44. So we're calling this one 8 Levels of Control, and we'll get into why all that is here shortly. All right, Michael?
Okay.
All right, so the housekeeping stuff. So real short intro. Audience, please share the episodes. Share the stories, the reels, share the shorts on YouTube, all of the content. If you're digging it, if you're paying attention to it, just share it. It's not that tough to do, and it helps us grow organically as we're trying to do. We're not sitting on here shilling for products. We're not wasting a bunch of time with nonsense. We're just giving you what we have on our hearts and hopefully some valuable content to help you to improve and be stronger and more fit and more capable and more aware. So do the right thing. Follow me on social. I'm at Real Jim Moats. Click on the support the podcast tab on the Ministry of Freedom Show's Instagram. That's a way for you guys to contribute a little bit financially. If you're led, you certainly don't have to. I don't expect people to do that. Several do, and I do appreciate it. But I ask that everybody do something. That's how a tribe works. So share the show, contribute financially, maybe buy my book. That'd be cool. Pick up a copy and dive in. It'll certainly help you to get to know me a little bit better. So I just ask everybody to contribute. Don't be like those folks that are stealing Netflix. You know, if you're absorbing the content, if you're digging the content, contribute. Do the right thing a little bit here. A few shout outs before we dive in. So can you see my shirt, Michael?
Yes.
Okay. So that's Yulee, Florida. So the tribe, we got tribe in Yulee, Florida. It's a northern border town up by Jacksonville. So the Yulee folks got me a t-shirt, asked me to give them a shout out and wear it on a show. So here you go, Yulee. Also, I was down in that neck of the woods about a week ago, played a board game called Yuleeopoly. So Yulee has their own kind of Monopoly game, and it's something. It's different down there in the old Florida-Georgia line, but it was a great time. Saw some family, spent some time with mom, my sister Nancy. It was pretty cool.
Is there a space called Pine Street?
Absolutely.
I figured.
But you don't go to jail. You get caught in traffic jams. That's something. It's very strange. It's very strange. Y'all done record now? You gonna hang out?
No, I got a place to be.
And you got places to be. All right.
Catch you later. Last episode I was on with you, you actually did an Allie shout out. How did that go? Did you get any comments, commentary?
We did, and not one person got it right.
And I can think.
So what?
By the way.
So we did 3 truths and a lie. So they had to pick out the lie. What was the lie, Al?
I can't whistle.
No, that's a truth. You can't whistle. The lie is the singing. I said you were this. See, I said she was like this amazing singer.
But I can think.
Yes.
Voice of an angel.
But I said I threw amazing in there.
Yeah, I know, but you're a liar. I can think.
See, we're having to start a little bit. I'd like to mention Gatorade, our sponsor. Please check out Gatorade.
Yulee and Gatorade.
When you said we don't have sponsors, you know what? I actually think we should. Pure Life Water.
All right.
It
is off the rails, and it's like technical difficulty.
So the lie was that she's not a glorious singer. She can sing,
well,
but not the voice of an angel.
She does not have the voice of an angel. No, would you agree?
She looks I think she looks a little mad behind. I think she does think she has the voice of an angel.
Yeah.
Would you like to sing on a podcast?
No, it's selective. Jim got to listen to it for 40 minutes yesterday in the car.
Sure did. It was glorious. So, Allie, I'm glad you're here, actually. not just for, to hang out. But so I'm going to embarrass Allie, and this will make her want to walk out. So I want to start the show. The next thing I want to talk about is a few shout outs. So I did the Yuli thing, right?
Yep.
So a bunch of people have been reaching out to me lately, and that I mentioned Eric last week on the show, who's back to his high school weight, grinding, training in the gym. So that's stuff. It's great to hear. It's super inspiring for me. Allie doesn't probably want me to say this stuff, but Allie has begun her strength training journey a few weeks ago. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I've gotten more back into
And
it.
is killing it in the gym and all of those things. So congratulations, Al. So some other dudes. So, have you watched the shows with my friends Mike Schinker and Mike Freeman? Have you seen those, Collins? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So apparently everybody having the show is named Mike. But so these dudes are older than us. Freeman's in his 60s, Schinker's like 78. And I met these guys the other day, and one of the first things they talk about is how they're getting stronger. Freeman's telling me that a few weeks ago he couldn't do any push-ups, and the other day he did 20 push-ups.
Oh, yeah.
Schinker's been through cancer and chemo and all this stuff. He's, like I said, 78 years old. Sent a text out in our group thread the other day talking about that I certainly don't feel like it and I don't feel great, but I'm still going into the gym today. So, man, if 78-year-old dudes post chemo and cancer are having a bad day and are still walking in and lifting weights, what is the excuse that people have?
Yeah.
It's nuts. So good on them. Also, a dude named Jerry Johnson reached out to me the other day. He's a dude I've known from church for years, but I haven't talked to him in a long, long time. Calls me and he just says, I wanted you to know I jumped in at episode 20 of your podcast, and I know you wrote a book and I haven't gotten that yet, but I will. And this dude's about to turn 60, talking to me about he's lost all this weight. He's back in the gym. He's getting back to strength he had 10 years ago. So older dudes are getting at it, and then the not so older people are getting at it. Yeah. Good job.
Not so old. I'm in my prime.
Correct.
Yes.
She
You're not even quite to your prime yet.
Yeah, tomato.
I'm happy we get to hang out with Mike soon. He is so incredibly kind.
He is so kind to you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, of course, you are here.
Mm.
No, how he's going to act. So another dude that's a mentor of mine named Lee Peterson sends me this picture the other day. He's got like this oxygen thing on with this tube coming from it and stuff. And he's out doing this oxygen training so he's rucking up in the mountains of Colorado to prepare for some kind of race. And he sends me a picture telling me that the stuff I've been throwing on Instagram and my weighted vests and stuff have motivated him to get up into the mountains and try to do stuff. So I got one more shout out, and I'm probably forgetting people, but a lot of people are getting at it, and it's pretty amazing. You know your cousin Les, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So your cousin Les is a regular listener, and he is like our main commenter. I mean, this dude is on YouTube, just comment. And we don't agree on anything, basically, which is fine. And I appreciate his perspectives, but he's way over on the other side. And I'm like, wow, there are, these folks do actually believe this stuff. But he's thoughtful and he's intelligent and he communicates effectively. So I welcome his stuff. So he sends me a message the other day and told me that, he's decided to take some ownership of his physicality and his situation. So he's back hitting the road in the morning and he's running and losing weight and dialed in his nutrition. And as weird as it sounds, I don't speak to him, but I'll message with him on social and then communicate through some comments on YouTube. I can tell by this guy's comments, the demeanor and feel in his words that he's transforming. It's amazing what improved physicality will do. Now, this isn't a guy that's chasing after Jesus. He certainly doesn't line up with you and I and Allie politically in any way. Yeah. But all of that aside, the base of physicality, when people really take ownership of that and want to understand that health is the true wealth, everything about this guy's life is changing. It's a great testimony. So listeners, go back and check out some YouTube stuff, especially the recent ones. You'll get to know Les. Thoughtful guy. I'd like to know if anyone lines up with where he's at. I don't, but I'm sure there's people out there that do. When's the last time you talked to him, Mike?
I haven't talked to him in a couple of months. He his Facebook, he'll shut it on and off because the political stuff will start to get into his head, and he'll get pissed off about some stuff, and then he'll just shut down his Facebook account. And I'll talk to him. He's like, "Dude, I just can't look at it." I'm like, "I understand. Yeah, I'm with you. I get it."
He gets pretty pissed off at me too.
Well, he'll let it start really consuming him. And the Trump stuff, the last election and the 2016, both. I think he ended up shutting off his Facebook account as the elections got closer because he can't control himself. He'll be reading it all, and then he starts commenting. Then he actually gets in fights with people, and he's like you said, his heart is totally the opposite direction. I mean,
one of his comments he sent me on YouTube yesterday was, "Do you even know what fracking is?" I think I do. I think they they powerfully infuse water into the earth, and it extracts,
make your car go
oil, and
and then it makes gas cheaper, and then your car goes.
Yeah, then you push the button, your car starts, you hit that pedal on the right, and you go.
Yeah.
So so anyway, good on him. I'm not trying to.
Also gas and helps everybody in the world, man.
So I appreciate Les. He's got good points. I don't mind debating people that have the intelligence behind and their heart behind what they really believe, because that's kind of what America is. Not everybody needs to believe what we believe.
Right.
It'd be a pretty boring place. Want to talk about the Bible?
Okay.
All right. Psalm 18, 16 through 18. You know about the Psalms?
I'm aware it exists.
Okay, good enough. Al, Psalms?
I know about the Psalms.
Okay. He reached down from heaven. He took hold of me. He lifted me out of deep waters. He saved me from my powerful enemies. He set me free from those who were too strong for me. They opposed me when I was in trouble, but the Lord helped me. Powerful scripture. I love it. It's written by King David. It's actually a song that he wrote, and he put it to music. These are the translated lyrics in words that we can understand. And he gave God all the credit and trusted in God to deliver him from those that would do him harm. And I like to live that out, and I try to do the same, because that leads us into today's topic. There are people that want to do us harm. Do you agree, Michael?
Absolutely.
And they don't make any bones about it, and they're not really hiding it, are they?
Some there are the snakes that are out in your face, and there are the snakes.
Yeah, what we're going to talk about today is, I think I'm a little late to the party on really understanding who this dude is and who he was, and how the tentacles of what Mr. Alinski started in the 60s and 70s is affecting us today, and how the globalists are running the playbook that he designed. And they're running it to a T, and they're actually fairly successful with it. So I just think that maybe, like myself, there's people out in the audience that haven't really been educated about Saul Alinski and who he is, and who he was, and what he's trying to get done in our country. So I got some notes here, so I'm going to cheat and make sure I don't mess any of this up. Saul Alinski, Alinski. So he was a dude, died in 1972, spent his life in Chicago, and he was a political activist from Chicago. So when I say that term, does any other name in politics come to your mind, Michael, when I say that?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, precisely. Also a guy that never really had a job, just was a political activist in Chicago. So Alinski was part of the Industrial Areas Foundation. And it was a liberal organization started in the 60s. And Chicago, much like today, back then, was just a hub of crazed progressive communist and socialist ideas. And Saul was right in the mix of all of that stuff. He inspired his teachings then, you remember the Occupy Wall Street and then Occupy all this stuff, those movements from several years ago? Mm-hmm. So he inspired all of that. He defended the art of confrontation. That was his kind of MO. He taught people how to protest. He taught how to riot, basically. So the peaceful protests that we all saw, in quotes, back in 2020. BLM, Antifa, none of them would exist without the teachings of Saul Alinski. So that's why it's important to understand this cat. A couple lines that I picked out that he wrote. So he's written 2 books. One's called Rules for Radicals and Revel for Radicals. One of his lines, the best slave is one who thinks he's free. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty deep.
We think we're free here, right?
Yeah, I think for the most part.
We have more freedom than other places in the world.
Correct.
Do we have the most freedom of any place in the world?
No.
There's more free places, you believe, than here?
I believe anywhere you're outside of structure. I'd say even in the U.S., there are people that live in the wilderness, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing. If you're in a lawless part of Mexico, I'd say there are people in lawless parts of Mexico that are freer than you and I.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to give up. I don't know if I want to go there. I'd like to be taxed less, and I'd like the government out of my life and business, but maybe not to that extreme. But the best slave is one who thinks he's free. Thought that was interesting. So, a couple people that were really that they attribute their worldviews largely to Saul Alinski and his teaching. So Hillary Clinton did her college thesis on his writings, and then Obama wrote about him in his book. So I dug up, there's a rumor that Obama worked for him, but I don't think that's true. And as I researched it, I'm not even sure the timing worked out.
Yeah.
But so I think there's nonsense out there that we need to be able to filter through as well. But I do know that Obama wrote about him in his book, and it is true that Hillary did her college thesis on his writings, and their worldviews largely formed from his teachings. So the work that Saul was most proud of was how to create a social state. And these people believe that this is the ultimate form of government and societal structure. They don't believe in a free market capitalist society. They don't believe in a democratic republic. They believe in a socialist state. He said there's 8 levels of control that must be obtained before you're able to create a social state. And out of these 8 levels of control, he was very insistent that number 1 was the most important. And I found this super interesting. Number 1 is healthcare. You need to control healthcare in order to control the people. So what was the Obama administration's number 1 piece of legislation?
Yeah, healthcare.
Obamacare. Healthcare. Exactly. So I think back, was that coincidence? Was that the number 1 thing that they wanted to get done just because they just are so philanthropic, so empathetic, and they just care so much about the citizenry of the country? They just have to make sure that we have health care. Or could it be that Saul Alinski taught them in no uncertain terms that in order to control a society, the number 1 thing, the number 1 priority must be health care? I think it's the latter. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I do.
So you have thoughts on Obamacare?
Or
let me interrupt you. Socialize medicine as a whole. Do you believe in that?
I think that, I think that healthcare should be available to everyone. I do believe that it should be something that in a country like the United States, I believe that people shouldn't be going broke because they got cancer. So obviously, I'm into dirt late model racing. This one of the greats of whatever. This guy is like great in our time. Scott Bloomquist killed himself yesterday, and he's had cancer for a couple of years. And he used to be like was a successful racer. Probably a millionaire at some point. Sure. But anyway, he's had prostate cancer for 2 years, and he's bankrupt, or nearing bankruptcy.
Sure.
So do I think that people should be losing everything they've ever had in their life and getting to a point where they feel the need, to kill themselves? Probably not.
For sure. No, I agree with that.
I just don't know how to fix it though, because I am a capitalist. So I don't know how to fix it. I want people to work for what they get, and I want people to be able to earn their health care, let's say.
Yeah.
But what about the people that don't? Like I've spent most of my life uninsured, and I've been lucky, we'll say, right? I barely ever go to the doctor, barely get hurt. Yeah. I just don't. I don't know, man. But so if it was me that one of these years that I didn't have health care, I'm self-employed and didn't have health care, and I would have gotten heart problems, cancer, or something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's tough.
It is a tough one. I don't know the solution to it. I know that when the government controls anything, the quality and the cost alter. So the quality goes down, the cost goes up.
And maybe there should be a basic health care for those that are uninsured and something, at least that catastrophic, and so the hospitals, they'll take care of people even if they don't have health insurance, obviously if it's bad enough, but if you have something, they take it. If you have nothing, they don't.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is medical.
Yeah. And
that is a catastrophe, and that needs to stop. I would say that my mind goes to, if we are sending $168 billion to Ukraine, I'd like to know what just that hunk, and we've sent more, but just that hunk that was approved, if those funds were allocated towards helping those that are unable to have their own insurance, provide them health care, or forgive some debt for, like your buddy who had the prostate cancer. Yeah. Some debt forgiven. Why are we forgiving student loans, but we can't forgive medical debt? Right. This is a travesty. And
there needs to be an umbrella policy. Is what there needs to be. People should work for their health care, but there should be an umbrella policy. I mean, just bankrupting people.
Right, but that umbrella policy has to come from somewhere. So you can't just.
There should be some basic coverage from the government that's probably going to be crappy coverage. Because it's going to be ran by the government. So it's going to be misran. It's going to be.
It's like the post office.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be horribly ran. It's going to be whatever. Yeah. But then obviously most people in the U.S. should be choosing to buy their health care or getting it provided by their employer as part of their benefits package.
Yeah.
Most people should be working. The problem we have is that less and less people are working for anything. More and more people are,
for sure,
trying to get on the government handout.
We don't have an issue with not having enough money in this country. It's just misused. It's mishandled.
And the government, we need a much smaller government, and they need to be more of an emergency, break the glass. Everything they're involved in needs to be.
That's right. As a last resort.
Nobody's taking care of the last resort. And right. And obviously, I don't know if I've told you this or not, but so I've been cleaning up homeless encampments in Douglas County. Yeah. Like we got a contract with Douglas County to go around and they'll bring us to where there's homeless people and we pick up their garbage.
Yeah.
And dude, most of them are drug addicts or mentally ill or both.
Yeah.
And so do I think that mentally ill people should just be stuck to live on the street? No. I guess I'm getting soft, man. Years ago, give them the get a job card and out the window. But
I don't think that's being soft. I think it's being a human being. Right. I think it's having empathy for a human being, and you can't just let them lie there in their own excrement and with needles sticking out of their freaking arms. It's just not right. Something needs to be done. Again, we have the money.
Yeah.
The government the market would clean that up. Yeah. If the government took bids on, just like you put in a bid to clean up these places. Yeah. If the government actually took bids, say we wanted to go start a mental health care facility and try and get these folks off the street and cleaned up and provide them education and tools to be sober and things, we could put in bids for that. The government could then pay for that. But I'm okay with the government paying for it, just not executing it.
So years ago, there used to be the state-run hospitals. And obviously that turned into such a mess.
That's the problem. Yes, like that deal in Glenwood.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not what I'm talking. That's the problem. See, the government ran that. I'm talking about the market running it and the government paying for it. The government's good at writing checks, just not overseeing it.
But they closed them down with nothing in place. They closed them down through all these mentally ill people out on the street.
Yes. Now I will say this, because I try to be fair on my views. I believe the best president we ever had was Ronald Reagan. Most of all of these types of places started to be shut down in mass in the Reagan administration. Yeah. So that was one thing that I can look back on.
So much abuse going on was the problem. It was a mess.
Yeah, you're right. So healthcare. You and I have decided we don't have the answer, but we understand that Obamacare was step one in trying to execute.
I don't want socialized medicine. I want an emergency parachute with with a capitalist system.
Yep. Okay. I like that. I think it's good. So number 2, these are again the 8 levels of control that must be obtained before you can control a society and implement a social state. Number 2 is poverty. So they need to increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control, and they won't fight back if you're providing everything for them to live. That's the Democrat playbook right there.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody on entitlements. Let's let them know, hey, we're the ones that send you your checks. And if you vote for the other guy, your check's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So let's put them in that fear. Let's control every aspect of their life and let's keep them poor. So the poverty level, have you seen the poverty level increase in the last 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah.
It's higher now than it's ever been.
And look, it's only this is a, like I always say about the cliff of the stock market and housing. The cliff is there with poverty too. You're getting ready to see. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at rents lately, but especially in metro areas.
Oh, for sure. Allie and I were having a rent discussion the other day.
What's that?
Allie and I were having a rent discussion the other day. Say bye, Al.
Yeah. Bye, Al.
Bye, guys.
See you later. So, I mean, people are renting 1 bedrooms in downtown Council Bluffs for $1,800.
Yeah. And that's unsustainable.
I don't even know how. So anyway, you're about to see a lot more people living on the street, unfortunately, or in their car.
Yeah. So that's number 2, poverty. Increase the poverty level. Check mark. So I see a check mark on number 1 and number 2 so far.
Yeah.
At least it's going the way they want it to go.
Yeah.
Number 3 is debt. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes, and that produces more poverty. So they're not talking about consumer debt. They're talking about our nation acquiring debt.
Yeah.
That's what he means by that. Yes.
And consumers and our nation are both. So whichever way you look at it, they're both at all-time highs.
Yeah. But the Saul's contention was we have to have reasons to increase taxes. So we have to convince the populace that, hey, we have all this national debt. We need to pay this debt down or the economy is going to collapse, thus creating more poverty. And I'd say, the debt's higher than it's ever been, right?
Yep.
Okay, so check mark. They're okay on number 3. Next is gun control. Remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you're able to create a police state. So I would say they've got these out of order, because if I was writing these and I wanted to take down America and I wanted to create a social state and control the populace, gun control is going above healthcare.
Yeah.
Because they have no freaking shot as long as we're armed. Yeah. And I'll stand on that. I believe that. Well, you don't have nuclear weapons and you don't have fighter jets. That's asinine stuff that I've heard President Biden say. That's nonsense. The only reason we aren't in a current police state is because of the Second Amendment and patriots that are out there arming themselves and getting trained up on how to defend themselves from the government. The Second Amendment is about defending yourself from a tyrannical.
A little off topic. Have you seen this video that's obviously resurfaced recently of the Minnesota Police Department during COVID walking down the street?
Absolutely. Do you know why it's resurfaced? Yes.
Because of the vice presidency.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
How was that buried? How have I never seen that before last week?
Well,
because the media is not going to show it, obviously.
And I think your question's somewhat rhetorical. Yeah. The reason we haven't seen it is because they control what we see.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, and I don't even know if this part's true, but I bet that it came out on X first. So
I saw it.
Yes, and that's why. So I would say you talk about modern day patriots, and most people will disagree with me. Musk is one. What Elon Musk has done with the purchase of Twitter and what he's trying to get done, and the leverage he exerts over the government through a space company. I mean, this guy he's one of the last freaking guys that are hanging on for us.
The fact that they had the police department walking down the street telling everybody they could not be on their porch. Yep. And shooting them with paintballs.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what they're after, man. That's the control.
I can't believe that no homeowner went in and got their gun and that didn't blow up.
So I personalize these things when I see them, and I try to put myself in this situation. So I'm 100% sure if I was living on that street at that time, we wouldn't be having a conversation today.
Right.
They'd shoot me because I would shoot at them.
That's how I feel too. Yeah.
If you raise a weapon at my family,
yeah.
I don't care if there's paintballs in it or
Yeah.
bean bags or whatever, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Now, I also understand I'm not so egotistical to think I'm some tough guy. I know I'm not going to come out of it.
Yeah.
But at some point, somebody's got to be the first one to stand up and fire back.
I can't believe I can't believe you can go down any street in America and they didn't run into one unhinged dude with a firearm.
I know.
They rolled the dice and got really lucky there that somebody didn't come out and.
Absolutely. And I think they also strategically knew where to do it.
Right.
So that's number 4. Gun control, they're trying.
They're trying.
So I'm not giving them a check mark there because we're standing up for that.
Yeah.
Number 5 is welfare. Take control of every aspect of their lives: food, housing, income. We've touched on that. That kind of goes into poverty, the poverty number 2 element for me. But they're trying to get more people on entitlements and government-run housing and things of that nature. And I think they're doing a fairly decent job of that.
Yeah.
I think there's more people on welfare now than probably any time.
Yeah.
This is also ties into the flood of people over the border because they instantly get them on welfare.
Yeah.
So I give them a check mark there, and they've been strategic enough to open the border they're willing to take down the country and have a lot of lives lost due to violence and other issues for terrorism that thank goodness hasn't yet happened, but I think is coming. In order to get the welfare part check marked. And I think they've done a good job at that. So Alinski's playbook is alive and well. So number 5, welfare. We'll give them a check mark. Yes?
Yeah.
All right. 6, education. Take control of what people read and listen to. Take control of what children learn in school. Oh, boy.
Yeah. That's check mark already.
Man. I go back to, I was on social media going around with some people about this the other day. When did all this start? How did we get to this place in schools? And they're teaching kids this and that. And I don't know if they were wanting a real answer or not, but I answered. I go back to 30-ish years ago when the state of California made it illegal to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, does that mean that if you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance, the country's going to hell? No, it doesn't. But it starts the process. It starts the process of now we got that done. Now we can push the line. Yeah. Now we got this done, we can push the line. And that was the start. And the indoctrination of children. And when I say children, I instantly think to young people, obviously, but young, like, first grade to 6th grade. But think of colleges, man. And we're getting ready, the semester is about ready to begin. You're going to start seeing them try these pro-Hamas folks are going to start trying to take over college campuses again. So the indoctrination is real. It's been effective. It's taken a generation or two. But I would say if Mr. Alinski was alive today, he's like, the education when we got down pat.
Yeah.
So check mark there. Number 7 is religion. Remove the belief in the God is how he wrote it.
Yeah.
Remove the belief in the God from the government and schools. And again, indoctrination, right? Yeah. And Christians are fairly persecuted, mocked, were made fun of. I'm openly a Christian person. I believe in the doctrine of the Bible. And, that's where we're pigeonholed into, we believe in ghosts and fairy tales and they've done a really effective job of trying to remove all of that from government and schools.
Yeah.
So I'll give them a check mark there. Class warfare. Number 8. Divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. This will cause more discontent, and it'll be easier to tax the wealthy with the support of the poor.
Absolutely.
How's that going?
No,
they're going to pay their fair share.
Yeah.
That's what you hear, right?
Yeah.
Creating class warfare. In fact, they like us to think that there's all these racial divides and things in this country. There's not. There's class divides.
Yeah.
There's class divides. So divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. And I think that's an absolute check mark. So let's review. The 8 levels of control that must be obtained before you're able to create a social state. Healthcare. Control the healthcare, you control the people. Check. Poverty. Increase poverty as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control. Check. Debt. Increase the national debt to an unsustainable level. Then you can increase taxes and create more poverty. Check. Gun control. Remove the ability of the citizens to defend themselves from the government. Nope.
In progress.
In progress, not a check.
Yeah.
5, welfare. Take control of every aspect of their lives. They're on their way. I'll give them a check. Education. Take control of what people read and listen to. Take control of what children learn in school. So the indoctrination of children. Check. Number 7 is religion. Remove the belief in God, from the government and schools. Check. Class warfare. Divide the people into wealthy and the poor. Causes more discontent. It's going to be easier to take or tax the wealthy with the support of the poor. That's a definite check mark. So the scary thing to me is that this was written 50 years ago. More, 55 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's been the plan since then. It's not like, you know what, they just went to the archives and dug this out and said, let's start this 5 years ago. It's been 5+ decades in the working.
And they've made a huge amount of progress.
Huge amount of progress. And I don't know how to undo a lot of these that we've given check marks to.
Yeah.
And I think if it goes further, so I don't know where I land on the doomsday theories of this election. So boy, if Kamala Harris and Walz get in, it's over. And probably not.
Right.
But boy, 4 years
it just keeps pushing the ball ahead further. Yeah. Just keeps advancing their agenda.
It's nuts, man.
It's the pendulum swing, dude. It's unfortunate. The farther this pendulum swings that way, so if they win, it's going to push that pendulum even farther to where it's going to create way more divide. When it comes back, it's going to create more divide in the country.
It is. And I think that wrecking ball, when it swings back, we're like being like, okay, we got to have, but even people like us are going to be like, dang, that really swung really hard the other way.
Yeah.
Because you and I think this might surprise the audience a little bit. I think we're more centrist than people might think.
For sure. Absolutely.
But when it goes the other way, the streets could look interesting. Doing a little research for this show. So I wanted to know, who did Alinski then? You know, who was Saul Alinski's people that he looked up to and that he studied that helped form his worldview that led to these 8 things? What'd you say?
Stalin.
So, yes, that's the answer.
Okay.
So apparently that what he was proud of, Alinski, was that he was able to simplified Lenin's original scheme for world conquest through communism. So it was Lenin and Stalin. And Stalin, Alinski was really fond of this term as well. So Stalin described his converts as useful idiots. We hear that term a lot now. The useful idiots have destroyed every nation in which they've seized power and control. That's also very true.
Yeah.
I got another line for you. It's difficult to free fools from the chains they revere.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Alinski.
Yeah.
It's not a dumb dude, right?
No, right.
I mean, this is pretty deep stuff. It's difficult to free fools from the chains they revere.
So what is honestly, what is the benefit? So
why are they doing it?
Yeah. What is the benefit at the end? Let's just say they succeed and we end up with a socialist state. And what is the benefit to anyone? And why would people be wanting?
So the benefit, I believe that people like Alinski and probably the Obamas and those types of folks, I think they believe that the best thing for the masses is to take the ability to make decisions and build things out of their hands, because they're just going to screw it up and put it in the hands of the smart people. I think they really believe they're doing good. I don't think they believe their actions as nefarious. Do you disagree with me?
I think capitalism does that. I mean, it obviously then it kind of sounds evil, right? But I think that maybe not always the smart people, but the hardest working people and the smart people are going to rise.
Agreed. But now, here's the difference. I don't disagree with you. Capitalism, a market society, is supposed to offer the same opportunity to other people. So socialism doesn't. That's the big difference. Now, in a capitalist society, do the wealthy and the intelligent and the privileged and those that could go to Yale, and do they have a huge advantage and an opportunity to rise up? Absolutely. But in a socialist society, that ruling class is the ruling class.
Yeah.
So I don't know the advantage, man. What do you think? I don't know how to answer that question.
I mean, I honestly don't know the point of, because it almost turns into then like almost like a monarchy. The people that rise to the top and the socialism, takes 100% control. I mean, it takes away, like I always think about my dad. Like, dude, my dad, I'm telling you, he was a hard worker, dude, just crazy hard worker. Yeah. And he's been successful his whole life just because of the fact that he was willing to do what other people wouldn't do. Able to take risk and work hard. And when things would get down for him, he'd work harder. He's definitely not in the top 10% of IQ people. I mean, he's an intelligent dude, but he's not, he's not in the elite intelligence.
Sure.
But he's in the elite of, in his younger years, work, just work through it.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what, just times are bad. The economy slowed down, whatever. I got to work later. I got to work harder. I got to work tonight. I got to work on the weekend. I mean, he would work through it no matter what it was. He just worked through it.
In a socialist situation,
that removes the guy.
Your dad wouldn't have that, even if he wanted to work that hard. It would be of no advantage to him.
Right. It would remove work. It would take those people off the board, and it would take people that are smart, that are born into whatever, not the upper wealthy elite. Yeah, take them off the board too.
It would. I don't know what the end game here is. I really don't. I guess it's got to be. Maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe it's control, so they have the wealth. Maybe there is something inside of them that they believe that they are somehow destined to set the rules. Maybe there are people that can glom onto this ideology because they are evil. Maybe there's a real darkness in some of these people, and they want to destroy this country.
I mean, can you just imagine a Biden, Harris, a Trump, anybody? I mean, it can be on their side of McConnell. Can you just imagine that if everybody in the nation and the world, that these people were completely in charge and running our daily lives of what we do, where we go, what we eat? I mean, the people at the top of both parties are not capable.
No, they're not.
They like we were talking earlier, they can't run healthcare. They can't maintain the roads worth a damn. They can't do anything intelligently. The mail.
Yeah. Here's the thing with government. So I don't see anything in that government touches being done at a level that I would call excellence.
Right. Well, they don't use any smarts at all. Just think about in today's digital world. Just think if all of a sudden they just said, "Hey, we're spending this money at the post office." You mentioned the post office earlier. Yeah. You're going to get your mail 2 days a week. Who would care?
Yeah, no one.
No one. How would that affect anyone's lives? And you could reduce the cost of the postal service by 2/3. You could have 1/3 of the same number of carriers as you do today. 1/3 of the trucks.
This is why the delivery of parcels should be privatized. It should be in the market. It should be like FedEx.
Well, and even if they leave the post office for just, so they have this 50-cent mail, whatever it is they think they're doing, if they dropped it to 2 delivery days a week, me and you get what we need to get. If we need documents, we get them overnighted.
Bro, I go to the mailbox twice a week. I don't even go get my mail every day.
Right.
And it's at the mailbox.
Yes.
I don't even care.
There was a time that was important. Mail was important.
So, half the time I don't even go get it. It just sits out there and I'll go grab it once or twice a week. But so the post office loses $1 billion a year. And I'm pretty sure even schleps like you and me could go really take a deep dive into the post office and figure out how to get it to lose $500 million a year.
Well, I'd say you just reduce the force by 2/3. Guess what? I'm sure we're there.
And I'm probably not paying people to drive the mail around. I'm probably not paying them $40 an hour anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Right.
But it is what it is. And I have an affinity for the post office. My dad retired from the post office. He went to work there after he got out of service. So the post office does a lot of good. But man, it's a freaking mess.
The fact that Big Jim never actually went postal, quote unquote, is one of the modern miracles of society, honestly.
Off camera, I can tell you stories that you probably heard, but dude, some of the things that he actually did while he worked for the post office and the blow-ups he did have, I can't believe he wasn't arrested. Because he went postal. He just never carried weapons.
Right.
He never believed in carrying weapons. And he just believed in verbally accosting those that he felt deserved it, and sometimes resorting to violence.
Verbal and physical.
That's what he was about. And I respect that. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. I'm thinking that, so as we record this, it's mid-August. We've got a few months, man. We got less than 3 months now, right? And until the election, and what's that going to look like? And the Democrat convention is this coming week in Chicago, and that's going to be a nightmare of protests and who the heck knows. I don't know. I think it's buckle up time, and we'll see how things go with colleges getting underway around the country, and with the convention in Chicago, the campaign events, and the election is coming up in November. Certainly, though, we have to vote. I know that seems generic to say, but there's a lot of people that don't vote. And I keep saying this. We mentioned your cousin Les earlier. I want that guy to go vote.
Yeah, for sure.
I know how he's going to vote.
Yeah, me too.
He's going to be in there scratching his head going, He's not going to flip a coin. He knows what his convictions are and how he's going to vote, right? I want Les to go vote.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go vote. I want you to vote.
I'm glad that they have the little partitions, because if Les looked over and saw the guy check a Trump box next to him, there's some chance he gets arrested.
For sure. And you know what? There was, for the first couple of months we did this, when Les started commenting and stuff on the show, and because I met him years ago, I was like, man, I'm glad this guy doesn't live down the street, because I think he's going to come knock my door down. He's really mad.
Wake you up with a knuckle sandwich. He's a good dude, man. He is really a good dude.
He is a good dude.
He has different beliefs than us, but like you said,
I'm for that.
Me
right?
too. Absolutely.
And I meant what I said earlier about him and the other folks that I wanted to give shout outs to. So many people are starting to jump on board, and in such a small way. I just listed half a dozen people. A dozen people. Is that a huge thing? No, but it's a huge thing to me. Yeah. And some of the stuff we're on here talking about and posting about and things, and that I wrote about in the book, there are a handful of people that look at that, listen to it, read that stuff, and they're like, I'm going to make some change in my life.
Yeah.
To have a dude say that to me, that has been unhealthy for decades, and says, I started walking, I can do push-ups now, and I've lost 20 pounds. Dude, it's really hard to get that feeling going and punching a clock doing something else. And people ask, well, why do you do this? That's why. I don't even know when I started having that kind of a heart, but man, it's just pretty cool. I got to find something that I want to read to you before we get done with this show, and I should have been more prepared. I'm going to try to hunt it up. So, audience, this is going to be a little dead air time, which is
that's okay.
Seems a little unprofessional. Found it. You ready?
Yep.
Telling a dangerously overweight person not to lose weight because they're beautiful is like telling an alcoholic not to stop drinking because they're fun. That's good, right?
Yes.
And we can't tell dangerously overweight people to lose weight anymore, because we're offending them and they're so beautiful. No, you're dying. And, that's a problem. And we need to be able to tell people the truth. And
I'm going to have to go share this with my wife.
Yeah?
Yeah. She tells me to work out a lot more than she tells me I'm beautiful. She's usually so politically correct. I'm gonna have to point this out to her.
How's your training been going? I know you had a lot going on. You traveling a lot. You doing anything?
My training has been, we'll call it, I'm not going to use the word non-existent, but one step above that.
So, in other words, yours is more day-to-day steps in lifestyle and working.
I am absolutely still trying to, I still don't have French fries, and I still have some dietary restrictions, but.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, the actual working out, I guess we're going to call it, I've been in the field more.
Yeah, got you.
But it's not, I'm not going to call it strenuous. It's definitely not enough. It's a lot more in the truck.
Yeah.
So I've, as you're aware, I'm basically in the process of moving back to Iowa.
Yeah.
And I've been bidding a lot of work in Iowa. And I've actually put together an amazing crew in Iowa.
Really?
Yeah, dude, pretty crazy. So
no kidding.
But there's just been now I'm creating a little monster that I got to feed, which means lots of work, lots of jumping around, lots of meetings. Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. It's like fun though.
I think that's
great. I do plan on, it's like everything. Everybody has excuses, right?
Yeah.
I've said that before. I know I'm giving excuses. Do I have time to exercise 30 minutes a day? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not in a position where I lie to myself and be like, well, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
No, I haven't made the choice lately. I've been not creating the time and making the choice. I have the time.
Yeah.
I could there is definitely 30 minutes a day that I am scrolling this stupid phone.
Same.
That I could be walking or doing something.
Yeah, it's just about making the decision, and it's tough, man. It's tough.
It's your brain, dude. When you get a lot of stuff going on and new things, that's what usually gets me is when there's a lot of new stuff I'm creating. Yeah. And in this case, even though it's a similar business to what I've had, I've taken on a lot lately. And so, it's just your brain gets in a weird spot, when you have to work on that.
What you do, you're like a lot of us. You're negotiating with yourself, and you have to have some things that are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of intensity, and here's what I mean by that. So when I was in the car business, let's just go back to sales manager days. So one of the big things is a customer comes on the car lot, and salesman will go out and spend some time with them, walk around the lot. Then if you just see the customer just leaving at that point, that's a problem. Because, the management hasn't had a time. It's called a TO. It's a turnover. So ideally you'd come in and get your manager and say, hey, I'm having some struggles out here. And the manager would go out and talk to the people and greet them. So at least there's another face instead of it's called grooming the customer off the lot. Yeah. So I'd get on some sales guys' cases about that come in and say, well, they were in a hurry, or they would say ridiculous things like they had to go because they just stopped in here on their way to the airport. I said, so you're telling me these folks on their way to the airport with that travel anxiety, and you got to get through TSA and everything else. One of them in the car looked at the other and said, you know what? We have got to go look at 11-year-old used cars with 100,000 miles on them in Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
Before we get to the airport. I said, obviously that's not true. So I would get on their case about that. And they said, well, I just couldn't do it. I said, let me throw this scenario out to you. If I was standing at the front door of the dealership and I had $500 bills in my hand, and you knew you were going to get those handed to you if you could convince those people to walk through that front door with you. Do you think you could get them to walk through the front door with you? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So it's just a matter of intensity.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of intensity. So when it comes to negotiating with yourself, then for me, it has to become a non-negotiable. Like, well, I got this and this and this going on. And like this morning, even we're going to record, we were started around 9:00 and I was a little bit unprepared. So I knew at 8:30, I had to start getting some stuff more organized and dialed in for the show. So it's easy. And I was a little bit sore when I went to bed last night. It's easy to think, I'm going to sleep in an extra hour and be fresh for the show and stuff. But then I'm like, hey, you're negotiating with yourself, bro. Yeah. I'm having this inner dialogue. That's not how it's going to work. So at 5:14 today, I'm getting out of bed and I'm doing my prayer time and reading my scripture. And I'm downstairs lifting for 50 minutes. And then I come up and have breakfast and get ready. And it all seemed to time out perfect. Yeah. but I battle it the same. I think a lot of people view a guy who seemingly just can do this 6 or 7 or even 75 days in a row or whatever, and it's not a struggle. It's the same struggle you have.
Yeah.
I have them. I have them every day. And it's just, you have to make those decisions. And the other great thing is it doesn't have to be 7 days. Man, think about 30 minutes 3 times in a week, right? But yeah, just keep at it, dude. That's always my encouragement.
Right on.
It's always my thing. So you're not coming up this week. I won't see you for a little while.
I don't know, dude. This closing out the house in New Orleans, and we'll see. Pending offer, and I think they're coming to negotiate some terms off their inspections, and I am. You want to talk about not negotiating?
Yeah. So you're not negotiating with them
myself, but you want to know who I'm not going to negotiate with?
The buyers.
That's right.
That's right. Beat it.
Yep. Take it or leave it.
It's so good.
Whatever.
All right. Final message for the audience, Mike. You got anything you want to sew up?
No, nothing. I'm good, man.
Here's my message. Freaking pay attention, man. Because those that are trying to do us harm and that seem like they're trying to change our way of life and wreck our country, the playbook's been out there for over 5 decades, and we got to pay attention, and we got to talk about these kinds of things, and we need to encourage people to get educated, know the issues, and then go vote. Don't vote based on gender or skin color. Vote on issues and policy. Identity politics is garbage. Get away from
your pocketbook. You don't need to vote on anything else.
Yeah.
If anybody in the world can actually claim in the U.S. that they are better off today than they were, I mean, I'm not saying it's not. There's people that started a business 4 years ago and they're hitting their stride right now, and they've got more money than they've ever had. Yeah. I don't deny that.
Sure.
But look at the other part. Pretend, I was telling Nancy about this yesterday. So, Sue, I scroll some social media more than I should. There's a picture of this beautiful woman, and it says, you met this girl in a grocery store. She gave you her number. You have a date scheduled for next Friday. And then you're in line behind her and her debit card gets denied for $49. What do you do? Dude, there's thousands of comments. Like this thing went around, there's thousands of comments. Do you know how many people don't have $49 to spare that they would give this beautiful woman who they have a date with?
Dude, I want to even throw the word out there most.
Right.
At this point.
Like when I look at it, it's just like, I would honestly give $49 to the most unattractive male I've ever met in my life who was in front of me and needed $49 fucking dollars.
Yeah, no, same, dude.
French. But I would. If I'm standing behind somebody and they get that look, all they got to do, I don't care what they look like physically. If they get a look on their face of like, oh no, how am I going to feed my kids tonight? Yeah. Man, woman, young, old.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm like, I got this.
Yeah. So I'm the same way. When I watch
that are attracted to somebody that like they're excited about this person and to read their comments of, yeah, she was trying to set you up. She try again. Yeah, I'm not, just like so many people don't have $49 to spare.
Yeah. I won't tolerate being at the grocery store and watching people in line have to put things back.
Yeah.
So, they gotta, I don't know what a great example is, but they can't buy milk and eggs, and they got to choose from one, and you see the cashier got like pull it aside, and they have to figure out, okay, that doesn't happen on my watch.
Right.
It's just it's not going to happen.
Too. So I can't imagine it being somebody that I was like excited about, that like, oh, I'm going to go on a date with this person or attracted to, or I can't even imagine. Like it's such a no-brainer for me to help anybody with $50 that needs it. Right.
Yeah.
That there's people out there that are like, would be attracted and excited about this person and be like, yeah, no way. Yeah. Give her number. That's like a lot of people like delete her number. Tell her don't call me. For of course, rude comments of, would you like to earn this $50?
For sure. Yeah. Right.
But the fact that people don't have $50, that disposable income to help out someone, it's a stranger or mostly a stranger, but somebody you've spoken to, it's crazy to me, man. That this is the society people are living in. They're just like, oh, it's fine. No, it's not. Your rent's going to keep going up. Your gas is going to keep going up. Your groceries are going to keep going up. Your wage is not going to keep up. That's the government that's in right now. And we've talked about it a million times. Four out of every $5 that have ever been printed were printed in the last 4 years. And that means that dollar is worthless. It's going to be worth less next year. And even if Trump gets in, it don't matter who gets in, they got a nightmare ahead of them. This ball's already been pushed down a hill and it's gaining steam.
It is. And as you say, heading towards a cliff.
Yeah.
That would be the ending wah message for episode 44 is, hey, everyone, we're heading for the cliff.
Yep.
Beware.
Well, you know what? If we can get Trump in office and he can at least bring a piece of foam out there and drag it at the bottom of the cliff, maybe we could survive the fall. That'd be great.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we won't, but maybe we could. I'll take a maybe ahead of a certain death.
Me too. We're at an hour and 1 minute. That's about where we're trying to keep these shows. Yep. So I appreciate it. And we'll see where we're at on episode 45 and see if we're off the cliff yet. Cool.
All right, dude.
Appreciate you, dude.
See you later.